Hello, my name is John Holsizer, and this is my end of Module 3 project. Today, I will be talking about my two topics. I'll be talking about adolescence psychologically, and then food motivation psychologically. So, let's go ahead and dive right in. Adolescence is a transformative time that is filled with growth, change, and self discovery. A lot of times it is seen as challenging for teenagers, the folks going through the adolescence, and also parents and friends, maybe siblings, the people that are around them. But it is important to note that it is a critical time in human development. To better understand adolescence, specifically from the psychological perspective, I'm going to break it down into three different points: identity, information, emotional development, and social relationships. So, first, we're going to talk about identity formation. Adolescence is a time when young people explore who they are and where they fit in. Famous psychologist Erik Erikson described this stage as, quote, identity versus role confusion, which kind of highlighted the identity development through the years, really just kind of growing and figuring out who you're becoming. It experiments with different roles, values, and beliefs as they try to figure out what defines them and what they're into. It could mean that they'll change their interests or explore new social circles or even question family beliefs like religion and political views. While it can cause tension, it's an essential part of self-discovery, and it allows teenagers to explore their space and help them develop a stronger sense of self that will serve as a foundation for them to build their future off of. Secondly, I want to talk about emotional development. Adolescents experience a range of intense emotions, which a lot of times feel like a roller coaster. Part of this is due to the hormonal changes, but also just the way that their brains are developing. The limbic system, which processes emotions, is highly active during adolescence, while the prefrontal cortex, responsible for impulse control and decision making, is still maturing. The imbalance can make teens more impulsive and emotionally reactive. Yes, it's challenging, but these experiences help the teenagers learn the emotional regulation, when to show a certain emotion, what's appropriate, what's not. And with the guidance that they get from their parents and guardians, they gradually develop skills to manage their emotions in healthy ways, and which is a crucial ability for adulthood. Thirdly, we will talk about the role of social relationships. During adolescence, friendships and peer groups become increasingly significant. Teenagers look to their friends for acceptance, validation, and support. A lot of cases, even more than they look for their parents for those things. They learn social skills like empathy, cooperation, and communication. And through those interactions, peer acceptance often becomes a major priority. People just want to fit in. It can lead to positive and negative influences. On one hand, peer relationships provide opportunities for personal growth. On the other, the pressure to fit in and to belong and to have those friends can sometimes encourage risky behaviors. Everybody knows somebody who just got in with the wrong crowd and went down the wrong path. It's that simple. But it is very important for adults to support the teenagers and the folks going through adolescence to build those healthy relationships and to help them navigate the peer influence to make sure that they do get in with the right crowd and they do have their priorities straight. In summary, adolescence is a time of profound change. It is characterized by the search for identity, emotional development, and the deepening of social relationships. Each of these aspects contributes to the formation of a well-rounded, resilient individual. By supporting young people through this stage with patience, understanding, and guidance, adults can help them emerge with the skills and self-awareness that they will need for the next chapter of their life. Okay, so that was adolescence psychologically. Next, I will be talking about food motivation. It's something that we all, It's something that we all can relate to. Everybody eats food, I know. I sure do. Specifically, I will be discussing food motivation from the psychological perspective. It plays a crucial role in our lives, not only as fuel for our bodies to go out and live our day-to-day lives, but also as a source of pleasure, comfort, and even social connection. To better understand why we are motivated to eat what we eat, I'm going to break it down into 3 main points: biological drives, emotional influence, and social and environmental factors. All right? So first, the biological drives behind food motivation. Our primary motivation to eat is rooted in biology. When our bodies need energy, they release hunger hormones like ghrelin, sorry if I'm saying that wrong, to signal that you are hungry and that it's time to eat. And after eating, other hormones like leptin, which signal that we are full. The cycle of hunger is essential for survival and helps maintain an energy balance. However, biology doesn't just push us to eat. It also influences what we are drawn to, our favorite kinds of food. For example, we are naturally motivated to seek out foods that are high in calories. From an evolutionary perspective, those foods helped our ancestors survive in times of scarcity. This biological drive explains why we might crave foods high in sugar or fat, even if we know that they aren't the healthiest choices, simply just because we know that they'll last longer, that we'll feel satisfied for longer, and that it's just more enjoyable to eat. Secondly, I want to talk about the emotional influences on food motivation. Food is often more than fuel. It's a source of comfort and can help us cope with emotions and a lot of times. Psychologists call this, quote, emotional eating. When we're stressed, sad, and even bored, we might turn to food as comfort or distraction. Foods that are high in sugar and high in fat tend to trigger the brain's reward system, releasing dopamine and giving us a temporary feeling of pleasure or relief. So, a little sweet treat is an example of that. This is why comfort foods are so satisfying, especially in times of stress. However, emotional eating can sometimes lead to unhealthy eating patterns. If we regularly rely on food to manage our feelings, recognizing the emotional motivations behind our food choices can be a helpful step in developing a healthier relationship with food. So, if you constantly use eating as an excuse to get over something, essentially it's just going to learn to your body making you feel that emotion to eat, because again, it's like a response, a reward to that. Thirdly, we'll consider the social and environmental factors that influence food motivation. Our eating habits are shaped not just by our internal drives, but also by our surroundings. Social gatherings often revolve around food, especially in the South. Cultural norms, family traditions are all influenced by the kinds of foods that we eat, even peer pressure. For example, some cultures might include a celebration that has rich and indulgent foods, while others may emphasize the health and the moderation of their food. Additionally, our environment, like the availability of food options, is the way that food is marketed to us. It plays a hugely significant role. Fast food, sugary snacks, candy, convenience food, ramen noodles, all those things, the high accessibility, are marketed to be appealing and, again, easy in access. We know that they're easy to go get, so we don't see it as a hard task just to go grab it. And that can influences our food choices even when we're not particularly hungry. When our body isn't even creating that food, we're simply eating something that's just more enjoyable, just so that we emotionally feel better. To kind of wrap everything up and put a bow on it, our motivation to eat is influenced by a complex interplay of biological drives, emotional states, and social and environmental factors. By understanding the different influences, it's easier to become more aware of why we make certain food choices and ultimately make decisions that support our physical and emotional well being. Food is not only essential for survival, but it's also kind of sewn into the fabric of our emotional lives and even our social experiences. This recognizing this helps us approach eating with a balanced and even more mindful perspective. So thank you, Dr. Jen, for listening. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and thank you very much. Bye-bye.